Hello and welcome to my first YouTube tutorial. Today we're gonna learn about how to create Venom. I've time-lapsed my clip when I sculpted and I thought I would talk over it and tell you my methods for sculpting. This is sculpted in Zbrush, but you can use any software. I know many of you will probably use Blender, so go right ahead. It's just about the sculpting techniques, not about anything technical. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so I want to start from a sphere, just so I could show how to create the overhead gesture from the start. The most important thing to start with is the gesture, and not to think about too much about technical stuff like anatomy and all this real cool stuff that makes it look really nice. You gotta start with the basics. So you can clearly see here, that I created this curve because I want my character sitting curved down, and then I'm gonna start with extruding the legs because in this case the legs is more important than the arms. So I started right here, and I'm bending them backwards, and I'm doing this by extruding them out and then extruding them again and curving them. Okay, let's see here. And many people tell you to not use the smooth brush, but I'm completely on the opposite side. I use it very often, probably way too much, because I like to create very high, very well curved detailed, but it can be too much, so I like to just smooth it out. Now I'm creating feet, blocking out in a simple triangle-like shape, just so I can see how the overall gesture of the legs look. You can see how the back is curved, and I'm trying to get the legs to like half sit, half stand. And still here, only think about primitive shapes, not any like technical. Only the basic shapes. If you want great looking sculptures, yeah, you must learn anatomy if you're gonna create characters at some point, but just start with the basics, the basic shapes. Yeah, as you can see here. And this is an evil character, right? So you want a lot of pointy areas so he looks more evil. The more pointy areas you have, the more evil it looks. The more like round and nice shapes, it will often more give it this like kind and nice and huggable look. So knees there, you create this like big triangle shape, so it's more like evil and it shows that it's an evil character. Then I start with the arms here. I do this very easily by just extruding two like blob shapes. And I know the like shoulders is gonna be like hanging over like this and not like back here. They're gonna hang over like this. So I sculpt them further down than I would usually do if it was standing in a T-pose. The reason I ain't sculpting him in a T-pose is because you always do that, so I felt like I wanted to challenge myself anatomically wise and see what happens if I just make him kind of like sit down. What happens with the muscles and all these shapes? Yeah, the shapes change a lot. If you change the posture, the muscles can change form and you won't even recognize them if you don't know where they sit. So anatomy is a great thing to study. But I thought in the beginning when I started studying anatomy, it was really boring. But I just pushed through it, and like now I love it. So it takes time. But just keep pushing through. It's art. It's supposed to be fun. But you also have to do some more boring stuff to get better, so you can do more of the fun stuff. Okay, here I'm just extruding out the arms. I want his arm in the end to sit on, to like rest on his knees. But I want to block in the arms and the anatomy first, before I do that, so I'm gonna make the arms float a bit over his knees. So I get the room in between to really create these muscles and this shape. To really like get the muscles right from the get-go and not having to like struggle with other a tight area between the leg and arm. Yeah, and then just the arms are also in triangular shapes, but they're hanging, so they ain't gonna be straight. The arms ain't gonna be straight, they're gonna be bended. When arms bend, the forearm, the upper part right here, or the lower part in the camera, usually gets bigger. So if I do this, it gets bigger, and if I do this, it gets a little bit smaller. I know it doesn't look like that in the camera, but that's basically how it works. So in the gesture, you want like this nice small shape at the bottom and this bigger chunk of shape on the top of the arm. There I also just made the shoulders like indicated where they should be to begin with. You see, I am already starting to get like the base character down, the base gesture, and really take your time with this. This doesn't need to go very quickly. I still don't feel I do it quickly enough, but we all learn. It takes time. Take your time. If this is your first time like sculpting something more complex, like this, a character, and a character like sitting down and all of this, it's really complicated. So take your time. You see the head there, I don't want the head to like look up, I want the head a little bit downwards. So I sculpted a very basic circularized shape to show here's the head. You don't want to start with the detail yet, because you want the primary shapes first, and you want to block in the character and the gesture. I have a little bit of anatomy knowledge from before, so I block in some of the major anatomy shapes. That's a great thing to do if you know where all the anatomy is, but otherwise just focus on the gesture and then look up the anatomy and block that in. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's gonna be it's really fun when you just get to it and you can just sculpt. It's really funny. Not funny, fun. Sorry. Let's see here. What am I doing now? Yeah, I'm starting to indicate the lower back. The back muscle. It's the muscle that's one of the muscles that helps with the V shape. It's really important on like a beef dude like Venom. So it gets that triangular shape down the back like this. And you really want that to be very defined on a big character, big muscular character like Venom. Because it gives him like this powerful, strengthened look. So I block that in very quickly. Don't take too much time to like do anything specific. Just go with the flow and keep working at it. You're gonna be better and better. So okay, let's see. And as I said before, it doesn't matter which software you use, just that you know the fundamentals and you're gonna be like, you can sculpt good in either software. You just gotta train all these fundamentals from the ground and up. I know it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Okay, now I'm indicating the toes. I'm really trying to create that tension between how the when the foot touches the floor and the toes are completely bent, almost 90 degrees. So you want it like this, like blocky and very, very rough looking shape. If you look closely, you can see that it's pretty much, there is a lot of very sharp angles in my sculpture, just to indicate where shapes and forms go and which like muscles groups go where. You can see on the arm, on the upper arm, I started indicating the bicep, this part, and the tricep here. Start to indicate them very, very gently. And now I'm starting with the forearm muscles. There's a big muscle on the forearm. If you're very well trained, like a bodybuilder, they get these like ginormous muscles on the forearm, so it's, yeah, as I said before, get this like big chunk of muscles on the top of the forearm, and then there are no more muscles like here, it's just skeleton, so you can't really build it bigger. But here is here you can build a lot of muscle, and then it going like a triangle and down. And now I really indicated the deltoid, the shoulder. You can see the shoulder, it's composed by 3 big parts. Then it has one of these 3 big parts has smaller pieces in them, but just focus on these 3 big parts. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3 pieces, and they all go towards the chest muscle. A common mistake is to just sculpt it straight down, like here, but it's actually connecting right here. Okay, now I'm just fixing the leg to create a little bit more dynamic gesture. The gesture is gonna change throughout the entire sculpture, so don't feel like you can't change the gesture when you're starting with anatomy and all of this kind of stuff. Gesture and anatomy is gonna change all the way till I'm done with sculpture. See there I used inflate brush to just really make some more powerful legs. I made them bigger because I felt like they was a little bit too small, especially for Venom. Yeah, I'm just correcting, getting all these nice gesture forms. I want him to look really strong, so with a thick neck, like this guy has, gets this straight line like that, and this curve on the back, and together it looks really interesting and becomes a really nice looking silhouette. Okay, let's see here. I'm starting to indicate some forearm muscles just to see how the anatomy feels, because I like to indicate anatomy first, just very roughly, and then smooth it over so it looks nicely and I can work more on it. And I usually keeps going that way till I get the sharpness and look that I want. Because I'm usually not going straight to the finish line. I'm usually going like this, back and forth. That's the way it's for me to sculpt. But you also get to be very creative, so it's a lot of fun. Now I'm indicating the V-shape back muscles even more, and really defining that back to really like make sure that he looks really strong. But you also need like big chest muscles to make him look really strong. So you can see that he has his arm pressed together, right, or like pressed forward. So he ain't gonna look the biggest. So what you can do then is to push them more outwards to make them look bigger and fit them in a smaller amount of space. But be very careful, because you don't wanna make it bigger on the bottom. You wanna make it bigger from the top, because otherwise it looks like a female chest, and you don't want that on a character like Venom. Okay, now I'm starting to get the overall shapes down. It's a lot of work left to do, but you see the overall posture is starting to get there. Yeah, I'm starting to like it. The gesture is like, you see those wide shoulders? Yeah, always when you create characters, if you got a smaller head, he's gonna look bigger. Until you make the head too small, because then he's just gonna look ridiculous. But in the beginning I had a little bit bigger head and I just scaled it down. And I think in the end I'm scaling it down even more. Because I want him to look really big and strong. Now I'm indicating the leg muscle. Some of the bigger leg muscles, just to get the volumes in there. If you want me to make a tutorial on some more specific anatomical stuff, please let me know and I will make sure to do that. Defining the character a little bit more, making sure now from every angle that he looks great. Never only look at like two sides, front or side. Look at all different angles to really make him compose a big cool looking characters. And if you're I'm using Zbrush, so I can go back and forth and look if I like the character more as it is now, or I like it more beforehand. So that's why I'm going back and forth in time lapse. I have to see if I like the result or not. I'm not sure if you can do that in Blender or not. You probably can, but I don't know. Yeah, so there we have done the first part of this tutorial. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe and like. Next time we're gonna dive some more into the muscle groups and anatomy. It's gonna be a lot of fun, so hope to see you there. We'll post in the next few days. Have a nice day, and bye bye.